Hey y'all, and welcome back to Old Iron Talk. I'm your host, Callie Girton, and today we will be speaking with Nikki and Chris Hudson. But first, before we get to chatting with them, my new producer and I, Michaela, have decided to, instead of doing tractor jokes, we're going to do fun facts about tractors. So first though, how are you doing, Michaela?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Another lovely day.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your fun fact for us?
Okay, so did you know that automobile companies were the first to dominate the tractor market?
I didn't 100% know that, no. But I do know that around 1923 in the United States, Ford Motor Company held over 75% of the tractor market. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then there's also producers like Lamborghini and Porsche that also created tractors, so also pretty cool.
That's cool.
Okay, now today we're going to check in with Chris and Nikki. Chris Hudson has his own restoration business, and Nikki has also been a part of the hobby her whole life. So we're excited to share their story with you and kind of get a look into what they do. So let's get to chatting. All right. So today we're here with Chris and Nikki Hudson. And Chris and Nikki have been married for almost a year now, correct? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, almost a year. Yeah, that's exciting. Congratulations.
Second.
Okay, so we're just going to start off. I'll ask you some general questions. If you kind of want to show off what's in the background, that's great too. But let's start off with, how long have each of you been in the collecting world?
I have been in the collecting hobby ever since I was a little kid. I've always been obsessed with tractors. Really got into the pre-1930s stuff when I was maybe about 10 years old. And my dad helped fuel that interest. And then it's kind of gone into the, restoration and that sort of thing.
Hey, Nikki, how about you?
I was, I guess, more or less born into it. Um, my great grandpa, Walter Lakey's had a big prairie tractor collection. Um, and then after he passed, the collection went to his five kids or his five boys. Um, and my grandpa, of course, is one of those. And he had a 2245 Altman Taylor that we always played around with. He had a whole bunch of other stuff, like big stuff. Um, and yeah, I just grew up around it. I didn't really know it was a hobby until I met Chris.
And then you met Chris.
Uh,
Okay, so I guess that'll be our next question then. Tell us the story of how you guys met.
I'm gonna let Nikki tell it because she tells it better.
God. So I'm not really sure what year it was. It had to be like 2011, 2012. Chris's dad was on a motorcycle trip going around the UP of Michigan. And on that route was my grandparents' farm. And in the summertime, my grandpa always had the tractors like lined up outside on display and whatever. And, Don uh, drove past and I was like, oh my gosh, we got to stop. So stopped and he talked to my grandparents. There was a whole, all the stuff there was like what? The Altman Taylor 2245, the 1020 Titan. There's an Eagle power unit. There was a 7 horsepower Stickney. There was a Model L case.
Vicar.
Yeah, there's a McVicker tractor that's in England now, I think. 1220 Wallace, and then like a couple other little things. Um, but anyway, chatted to the grandparents and left. And probably 6 or 7 years later, Chris and Don were driving through that area again. And they're like, oh, we should stop and talk to these people again. And they tried calling the number that my grandparents gave them a little business card, and they tried calling the number and it didn't connect. Um, so Chris creeped on the Lakey's last name and he found me. So he messaged me and he was like, hey, do you know Don Lakey's? And I was like, yeah, very well. That's my grandfather. Like, what do you want? I wanted to stop and see the tractors. He's like, oh, we're looking to see the tractors again. And I was like, when's the last time you were there? Because like a lot has happened. Like my grandma passed, the farm has been sold, most of the tractors have been sold. Um, so I was like, a couple of the bigger things are at my parents' house in Ironwood if you want to stop there. And he was cute. Rest is history.
Well, hey, that'll happen. I mean, that's a pretty cute story. And it's cool that the hobby is kind of what brought you together. So that's awesome. And Nikki, I think it's really cool too that you kind of grew up with this in your background as well. And now you're still instilled in the hobby and trying to teach others about it as well. So that's awesome. Okay, Chris, back to kind of like your restoration business. How did you get started restoring tractors? Is this something you did with your dad growing up, or what really sparked your interest in that?
Growing up, we always had different projects going on. We restored a single cylinder Titan, 20 horse Titan, my dad and I. It was a wreck when we bought it. So we went through that, we restored it, we made a bunch of stuff for it. And then actually during COVID, I was working in a supply chain job for a medical device company in electronics, and the electronic industry just went crazy, and I had had enough of it. So I decided I was going to leave that job. Didn't really 100% know what I wanted to do at that point. But anyway, we kind of just started doing some local farm fixes and that kind of thing. And then that kind of spiraled into the restoration stuff of, the earlier tractors. We did Tractor for Kurt, and then we've done, several other ones since then. And, we got these two Titans back here that we're working on finishing those up. So yeah, it just kind of spiraled out of control from there. Now we got a whole bunch of projects sitting around that are waiting to come in.
I believe it. That'll happen. But that's awesome. Okay, what was each of yours first tractor that you bought?
My first tractor I ever bought was a John Deere B. I was
Okay.
riding home on the school bus. I would have been in like, I don't know, probably first or second grade. I get home and I'm like, Dad, there's this tractor sitting alongside of the road. We gotta go check it out. And he was like, all right. So we get in the car, we go over there, and the guy just pulled it out of his barn because he had to move some stuff. And he's like, well, I don't really want to sell it. Anyway, the more we talked to him, he's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything with it, get it out of here.
Well, that's awesome. So what did you do like growing up? Why did you want that bee? Did you use it for anything? Or was it just something that caught your eye?
It was just something that caught my eye. I wanted a
Okay.
John in the worst way.
That's funny. Did you guys grow up with John Deere's like on your farm or anything or no?
We grew up with internationals.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, hey, there you go. What about you, Nikki?
Uh, I'm a spoiled brat and never had to buy any of the tractors I
Okay.
bought. Um, and that still rings true to this day. The tractors I play with aren't technically mine, so
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, what do you do for work?
I'm I got my degree in agricultural engineering, but I am a like a roof system and floor system designer. Um,
Fun.
yeah.
Sounds like a great time. Chris, what do you find to be the most enjoyable part of restoring tractors?
The most enjoyable part, I guess, is when you take something, it shows up or whatever, and it is in just disrepair. And you take it and you go through everything, and when you're all done, you have, whether you paint it or you just do a preservation restoration on it. You have a piece of equipment that will just sit there. You can start at any time, do anything you want with it, just the finished product, I guess.
No, that's awesome. What do you think is the most challenging part?
The most challenging part is getting parts made in a timely manner.
I
Um,
believe that.
and it doesn't matter if it's castings or, if you need some sheet metal parts or whatever it may be. It just seems like there's always a hurdle of um, timing with that.
Mhm. I believe that. So what all will you do, like you personally, when restoring a tractor? Do you do like mechanical work? Do you do the painting? What all do you do in that process?
So yeah, we will do everything here. Turn them apart, go through everything. We do some of the machining here. We have another shop that we do some of them that does some of our machining for us, or a couple of different places, I guess, just depending on what it is. Sheet metal work, I'll do some of the sheet metal work here. We've got another guy that we do use to make some of the other things, whether we don't have time or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm. What's one of the most challenging tractors you've ever worked on?
These two sitting behind me.
I wondered if you would say that.
Yeah.
Uh,
The one that's directly behind me is actually the tractor that was sold on, I think it was the 2021 pre-30 auction
okay.
that had come out of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And there was kind of a whole bunch of you know, claims against the exporting of it, I guess. But anyway, that tractor had essentially sat in a salt marsh for a number of years, and we ended up making new back wheels for it, made new frame rails for it, just anything that could be bad on it was pretty much bad on it.
Yeah. Those are quite the projects you have, so it's impressive. All the work that you do and everything you get accomplished. So kudos to you.
Sometimes it doesn't feel like we get a lot done.
I mean, that happens sometimes, but I'm sure you're getting more done than what you realize. So that happens. Okay, I do have to go back for a second here, Chris, because in one of your answers, you did say that at first you really wanted a Rumley oil pulled tractor.
Oh, yes. So after I had gotten, kind of the bug for the pre-1930 tractors, that was the thing, that was the next thing, because there's kind of more of them,
Mm-hmm.
uh, than a lot of the other pre-30 tractors. So that was the next thing I wanted, I wanted an oil pull, and we ended up uh, finding one in Illinois. My dad and I went down and got it, brought it home, got it running. And then since then, just kind of kept trading tractors, we've probably had 30 different oil pulls over the years.
Okay. Nikki, has your view on the hobby or the collecting world in general changed since marrying into it?
Yeah. Um, Not for good, not for bad. I'm just realizing what a big hobby it is. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not just like going to a few shows here or there. Like some of the diehards like do a lot.
Yes.
It's not like it with us, it's not even a hobby, it's a lifestyle, 100%. Um, I never knew that I was going to have to plan like all of our trips around tractors. Like when we were on our honeymoon, uh, Chris was like, "Oh, I think there's a tractor around here somewhere," and like sent one of our bellboys.
Oh my
Like, you
gosh.
live near where this tractor is, I think. Can you go look to see if it's there? So there was that, and then I also have to watch what I say about certain tractor lines. There's one time I told Chris, I'm like, I really don't like the noisy single cylinder international tractors. And it started World War.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So not knowing that I have to hold my tongue about certain things like that.
Yeah, that sounded like a mistake.
So
Where did you guys go on your honeymoon?
we went to Porto Morelos.
Okay. So what was the tractor? Or was it
Um,
not there?
well, it wasn't near there, but it was farther south in Belize. It's a Holt 120 tractor.
Okay.
It's sitting out in front of like some government building. It's missing a whole bunch of
Hmm.
parts and that kind of thing. But it turns out our bellboy is actually from Belize, and
Okay.
from the town that it's setting in.
That's funny.
See,
It's a small world. You never know.
Yeah. He was surprised that anybody knew what that was. I mean, because
Yeah.
he didn't know what it was. And he was surprised that it was worth money.
I bet. That's funny. Yeah, I bet he probably had no idea. Well, you never know what you're going to run into or where you're going to find it. So that's kind
Yeah,
of cool.
absolutely.
Do you have a show or event coming up? Do you want to promote for the 2024 season? List your event today with Old Iron Garage. We will help promote and highlight your event for free. Check out some of our current shows and events happening near you. To get started, visit oldirongarage.com.
Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning, Chris and Nikki are getting close to celebrating their 1 year anniversary. And at their wedding, you guys had tractors involved. Was that a mutual thing or no?
It was just going to happen.
yeah, I wouldn't say it was mutual. I just knew it was non-negotiable, so I didn't fight it.
It was unavoidable.
That's fair. That is fair. Okay. Do either of you have a dream tractor? And if so, what is it?
You can go.
I don't really have a dream tractor, I don't think. I would love to allocate all of my great grandpa's like his original collection.
That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
hmm
I don't have a specific.
Do you know where all of them are?
We know where a good chunk are.
Okay.
Yeah. Like that McVicker I was talking about earlier, that's I think in England.
That's crazy. That's cool, but crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
She does like Townsend tractors.
I do.
You do?
So
You're gonna get me kicked out of some shows for saying that.
my dream tractor, if one even ever existed, is a 3060 Deering tractor. It was basically a 45 mogul chassis that they put International Harvester put their 2-cylinder upright engine on. And they were such a poor design. They only built 10 of them, and they were so bad that they had to get rid of them. So they dumped them all in like Argentina and South America.
Okay. That's crazy. That would be an awesome tractor to have, but good luck with that one.
Yeah.
All right. I know you guys go around and you go to a lot of shows and different things. Do you guys have a top show that you like to attend?
My favorite shows to go to are either Crosby, North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously everybody knows the John Tessie collection out there. It's just a huge assortment and collection of, early tractors.
Yep.
And then also Rollog too. We usually alternate years going between the two of them.
Because it's like a 26-hour drive.
Yeah, that would be a heck of a
It
drive.
takes forever to get to either one.
Yeah, I bet.
The big ones you can't really compare to like some of the smaller ones though.
Yes.
Like Buckley in Michigan is awesome.
Yeah.
And my home show in Edgar, Wisconsin is pretty awesome. It actually is. It has a huge flea market.
Does it?
It's like, I don't remember if it was like the first or the second largest flea market in Wisconsin or something.
Oh,
like that.
wow. That's crazy. I did not realize that.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
got a
pretty cool then.
huge flea market. And then, all the Lakey's tractors are there, and they
Mhm.
plowing,
There's
all the
always
stuff.
stuff going on.
Yeah. Sometimes the smaller ones can be more fun depending on what all is there.
Definitely.
Okay, where are you guys headed the rest of this year? Do you have any shows?
So we are heading to Maryland next weekend to go to Bill McGrew's home show.
Okay.
So we're gonna spend a couple of days out there, and then after that, we're actually gonna spend our 1 year anniversary weekend in Texas at a private event.
Oh, that sounds fun. Maybe Nikki, yeah, no.
Remember the lifestyle thing I was talking about?
Goes back to that.
Yeah.
How many tractors do you guys currently have in your collection?
I think pre-1930 tractors, there's probably 8 or 9 tractors out there. I mean, altogether, with I'm gonna call it after 1930 or rubber tire stuff. I mean, there's probably a dozen or 15 of them running around here.
Okay.
And
And
we
what
do a
brands?
lot of stuff for like our hobby farm and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
We hobby farm like it's 1950.
We hobby farm like it's 1950. Oh my gosh. So what do you have on your hobby farm? Like animal wise, what do you got?
Well, Nikki has a horse,
Okay.
and we have a couple cows, and we
Endless
have
chickens.
a
Well, you gotta have chickens.
flock of chickens and guinea hens and all that good stuff.
Well, good.
And we're hay
Sounds like
farm.
you guys got a good little funny farm there.
Yeah.
Okay, have you done any work on the tractors that you own?
Yeah. Like I said, the 20 horse Titan tractor, we went through that, and we did pretty much a total mechanical restoration. I mean, it's essentially been done for a couple of years, but there's still a few things on it that need to be done to finish it up. Um, our 45 Titan tractor, when we bought that, it was missing a lot of parts. And we've gathered, pretty much everything for that. We just haven't gotten to the point to go through it yet. So, and then, way back in the day, uh, you know, lots of, rubber tired row crop style tractors and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, cool. So what is like one of your upcoming projects aside from what's sitting behind you? What do you have coming up?
For work or for myself?
Let's do for yourself.
So for ourselves, um, my dad and I want to go through our 45 Titan and do a mechanical restoration on that. That we've owned that the longest, and we've never done anything with it, so it's time.
What year is that?
It's a 1911.
Okay. That'll be awesome. Very cool. Okay. How has this hobby helped you guys connect with others?
I mean, it made us meet each other.
Well, that's true.
Some of the awesome people we've met in this hobby, like, I mean, gosh, like Steve Vanderzeel, Carl and Sandy,
Blue Bias.
Kurt Amon.
You don't have to say that.
Like, we wouldn't have those connections if it wasn't for the hobby.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. No,
Well,
it's definitely. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say it's pretty amazing, like for the pre-1930 tractor hobby is a relatively small group of people, but they're all over the globe. I mean, we have people from Australia that I'm friends with. I mean, a bunch of people in Europe. Earlier this summer, I helped one of my customers actually get a tractor out of Europe. So, just the endless connections everywhere,
Yes.
and if you travel anywhere in the world, you can pretty much always find somebody that is in the hobby that you either heard of or, somebody knows of them.
And sometimes I think it's amazing too, because sometimes it's the people you least expect. And so sometimes you just have to open that conversation and you'll be surprised at what they're interested in and what they may collect.
Funny story with my current boss, my like Google picture is me and my grandpa on his 2245 Altman Taylor. And my boss in Wyoming saw it, and he's like, "Oh, my family, my wife's family used to have a tractor like that. It's up in North Dakota now." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Where?" He's like, "It's a little town you've never heard of." And I'm
my gosh.
Trying.
Yeah.
And it's the big flower city at John's.
That's awesome.
I think it's at the museum now, right?
Well, there's two big flower cities at the show. And I think the older one, I think it was either his family or his wife in-laws or something like that. Some of their family actually donated it to the historical society.
Yeah, so it's just again the whole small world thing. Like, I didn't even try to make that connection.
Yeah, it is crazy. Absolutely crazy. The people that you'll run into. Yes. Okay. What do you think people misunderstand about you guys the most?
Um, I mean, I don't think people realize how passionate I am about this hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Um, am I crazy like Chris is? Absolutely not. But I can keep up a whole bunch of tractor conversations, with some of the hobby's best. Like I have a love-hate relationship with magnetos. One of the first dates I ever had here with Chris, we spent like 4 or 5 hours in one of our friends' garages watching him trying to fix a mag. So,
That's funny.
but I can tell like a good tractor from a worn one. Like I can tell when something's not running right, like if it's laboring or stuff like that. I can spot when stuff is original or when it's repop. Um, I don't really, when I'm at a show, I don't really want to be in the women's auxiliary building. I want to be out like watching an E Rumley and listening to its cadence on the, threshing machine or something. So
That's fair. I get that 100%. So I would say, though, that's kind of overall in general, sometimes with women in the hobby. I would say that's something that people misunderstand a lot is that there's more of an interest there than sometimes people really assume. So, yes, I would say that's a good answer for that one. Okay, being young and in the hobby, how do you see like the younger generation influence the hobby? And do you think they have an interest?
that's a deep question.
It is.
Do they have an interest? 100%. Yes. They have to be introduced to it though, because if you're not introduced to it, you don't really know that it's a community the way that it is.
Yeah, I would say that there is a growing interest in the hobby. Um, it's kind of a tough question because like some of this early stuff, maybe like some of the cost maybe deters that a little bit, because
Yes, I agree with that.
there's not a, there's not a lot of people that can afford a three or a $400,000 tractor. So maybe when you see those big kind of numbers or something like that, it may have some deterrent to that person. But just to kind of like step in and get in it and, get around the pre-30 stuff, I, you know, I do think there is an interest.
Yes, no, I agree. I think there definitely is an interest too. I think it just comes down, like you said, to honestly the money, because some of them are the bigger ones too, so insanely expensive that people in the younger generation are not going to be able to afford those kind of things, and especially not for just a hobby. So,
No.
yes. Okay, now, if you're okay with it, can you take us for a little walk around of the
Yes.
two wonderful masterpieces you have sitting behind you? Don't forget to visit our old iron marketplace, where you can buy and sell all things old iron. From vintage tractors to gas engines, we have created a place to list and shop for items easily. Currently, we have tractors, combine heads, cast iron seats, threshers, operator manuals, and so much more. Buy, list, or sell your antique iron-related items on our marketplace today. The Old Iron Marketplace is free to use. Simply log in and register today. Visit oldirongarage.com to get started.
This is a 20 horse Type D Titan. As I was saying before, it was on I think it was the 2021 pre-30 auction. This tractor that came out of Australia, essentially an assault marsh. Anyway, we went through and we've put new pieces on the frame rails. We've replaced parts of the frame. We've replaced the rear wheels on it because they had holes in them.
Okay.
We've gone through the engine and basically we've done everything to the engine. We've ground the cranks, we bored them oversized and made new pistons for them, new main bearings, new rod bearings. So they're just about as close to new as I think they're going to be.
Okay.
Walking around the backside, we're starting to get like all the levers and the platforms and all that stuff on them, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have canopies on them and that type of thing. This here is the 45 Titan. This actually came off from pre-32. I think it was the last live pre-30 sale that they've done.
Okay.
Same thing again. This tractor was in pretty nice original condition, but it was fairly wore. So again, we've gone through and essentially, you know, thing.
Mm-hmm.
New axle shafts, new power shafts, new everything in the engines. So yeah, they've just been a big project, and you know, now we're kind of getting towards the end of it.
I was gonna say, it looks like it's coming together and they look really nice. So I'd say it's a big project well done. Okay, now you keep saying we. Do you have any help? Like, do people work for you?
Yeah, so it's myself, and then I've got a full-time guy. His name is Avery. It's actually Nikki's cousin.
Okay.
He's probably just as nuts or more nuts about this stuff than any of the rest of us.
That's funny.
He is you know, he started back in I think May, and he's
Okay.
you know, learning a lot. I don't know, I think he's just enjoying his time. I think he has frustrating days, but I think he has more better days than not. And then my dad, he helps me as well, probably 3 days a week or something like that.
Okay. Well, awesome. That's great. Well, hey,
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys doing this. I know it may not be your favorite thing, but I really do appreciate it, and people love to watch it. So,
Wasn't too bad.
see, told you it wouldn't be. All right. Well, thank you guys. I do appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
You did
Thanks.
great. Talk to you later.
See you
All right,
later.
bye.
Bye. You can find all the source material for our episodes on our website, oldirongarage.com. We encourage everyone to join us on Old Iron Garage and connect with other collectors. Again, we would like to thank Chris and Nikki for joining us today. They both definitely have a passion for the hobby, and we love being able to share that with all of you. We encourage you to check out Chris's restoration page on Facebook at Hudson Tractor Restoration and Repair. Don't forget to submit your collection photos to info@oldirongarage.com to be featured at the end of our episodes. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or would like to join us on a future episode of Old Iron Talk. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.